Hello everyone, welcome to this lecture on membrane filtration technology. At the end of this lecture, you will know what is membrane filtration technology, the principle of filtration that is used in membrane filtration technology, the difference between cross-flow filtration and dead-end filtration, types of different membrane filtration processes, the membrane materials which are used in membrane filtration technology, membrane modules, backwashing and chemical cleaning. These are the processes that are used to clean the membrane modules and the advantages of going for membrane filtration technology. Membrane filtration technology is also called as membrane separation technology. It is a physical separation method that is used to separate the molecules present in a liquid on the basis of their size and other characteristics such as charge. Here a membrane is used for separation of molecules, which acts as a barrier and allows the transfer of selected components in the feed stream. The driving force which is applied here is the pressure difference on both the sides of the membrane. That is, the fluid is forced through the membrane by means of high pressure, resulting in a pressure difference across the sides of the membrane. And this membrane filtration technology is predominantly used for wastewater purification. The principle of filtration is employed in membrane filtration technology. The feed stream, which is usually a wastewater having various impurities, is forced through a filter medium under the application of high pressure. So this is the medium here, and this is your feed stream, which has got particles of different sizes, that is impurities of different sizes. So here what happens is the particles who have a diameter above the pore size, medium pore size, will get retained on this filter, and the particles which are smaller than the pore size will pass through the medium and they get into the permeate or the product stream. So when it comes to membrane filtration technology, the filter medium which is used are membranes having different pore sizes, and on the basis of various pore sizes and some additional properties that the membranes possess, the purification of wastewater or the fluid stream, feed stream, takes place. There are three fluid streams which are obtained in membrane filtration technology. First stream is the feed. The feed is the wastewater which has got these components, the waste impurities. The second is the reject or the retentate. The reject or the retentate is the waste fluid with high concentration of impurities which goes out as waste. The third fluid stream is the permeate, which is the clean water which can be used for different purposes. There are two types of filtration processes, that is cross-flow filtration and dead-end filtration, depending upon the direction of the feed flow. First one is the cross-flow filtration. As you can see in the picture here, the feed stream flows across the membrane. Okay, it flows across the membrane here, whereas the concentrate or the solid particles which are present, they will accumulate at opposite end of the membrane, that is at the side of the membrane. And in this type of filtration, low resistance to the flow is offered. Whereas the second type, that is your dead end filtration, here as you can see in the picture, the feed stream flows perpendicular to the membrane. Okay, it flows perpendicular to the membrane, and the solid particles which are present in the feed, they will accumulate directly on the filter, offering high resistance to the flow of the fluid, that is the feed, after the deposition. Types of membrane filtration processes. There are 4 different types of membrane filtration processes based on the size of the particles that have to be separated from the feed. So in the order of increasing pore size, the names have been given. First is reverse osmosis. So the membranes of reverse osmosis have the lowest pore size. Then you have nanofiltration, followed by ultrafiltration, and finally you have microfiltration. So in the order of increasing pore size means your reverse osmosis membrane pores have the smallest diameter, and your microfiltration membrane pores have the largest diameter. The first type of membrane filtration process is reverse osmosis. You have already studied about this in great detail. The reverse osmosis membrane pore size is the smallest among different membranes, and it is less than 0.0001 micrometer or 0.1 nanometer. The pore size is so small that only water can pass through this, and all the other substances such as natural organic substances, bacteria, viruses, etc. will be retained on the membrane. The next method is nanofiltration. The nanofiltration membrane pore size is slightly larger than the reverse osmosis membrane pore size, and it ranges between 0.1 to 1 nanometer or 0.001 to 0.001 micrometer. This allows the transfer of monovalent ions, whereas all the other materials such as cysts, bacteria, viruses, etc. are restricted. The pressure ranges, you know that the principle of membrane filtration process is forcing the fluid to flow under the action of pressure. So the operating pressure ranges for reverse osmosis and nanofiltration are high, and they range between 6000 to 1000 kilopascal. And the mode of filtration which is employed is cross-flow filtration, wherein the fluid or the wastewater, the feed, it flows tangentially or along the direction of the membrane. The next method is ultrafiltration. The membrane pore size in ultrafiltration ranges between 0.001 to 0.1 micrometer. Through this ultrafiltration membrane, smaller peptides, organic acids, salts and sugars will easily pass, whereas larger molecules such as proteins, fats, polysaccharides and everything which is higher, which has a size higher than these molecules, will be retained on the filter. The last one is microfiltration. Microfiltration membrane pore size is the largest, and it ranges between 0.1 to 10 micrometer. Suspended solids, bacteria and fat globules will pass through the membrane. The operating pressure ranges here for microfiltration is the lowest, between 100 to 400 kilopascal, whereas for ultrafiltration it is between 200 to 700 kilopascal, that is higher than the microfiltration process. And the mode of filtration is dead end filtration, wherein the fluid will flow perpendicular to the membrane. This is how the separation of components takes place during membrane filtration processes. The first filter, which is yellow in color, is of microfiltration, green is ultrafiltration, the third one is nanofiltration, and the last one, dark green, is reverse osmosis filter. So this particle refers to the suspended solids, this one refers to macromolecules, these are monovalent ions, and the last one is water. So when this wastewater, it passes through the membrane filtration process. Only the suspended solids get retained on the microfiltration membrane, whereas rest of the molecules will pass through. Okay, so in the second case, that is ultra filter membranes, the macromolecules will get retained on the membrane, whereas the multivalent ions, the monovalent ions, and water will pass through. When it comes to nanofiltration membrane, the multivalent ions are retained on the membrane, whereas only monovalent ions and water can pass through the nanofiltration unit. And finally, when it is through the reverse osmosis membrane, it will not allow any molecules except for water molecules to pass through it. So this is how the component separation occurs during membrane-driven processes. Membrane materials, you use synthetic polymers. Okay, most of the polymers that are used for filtration of drinking water are synthetic polymers, and they are less expensive. The polymers which are susceptible to oxidation, okay, they have to be avoided for chlorinated water. When you have chlorinated water, the filters which are prepared with polymers that are susceptible to oxidation will undergo oxidation. That is why they have to be avoided. And your membrane materials, they should have high mechanical strength, especially those which are used for nanofiltration and reverse osmosis. They should have high mechanical strength to tolerate the very high operating pressures. And generally charged membranes are used to remove particulate or microbial contamination which have charges on them, and the particulate or microbial contamination which are opposite charge will get attracted to these charged membranes by electrostatic attraction. That is when electric potential is applied. And generally your membrane materials can either be hydrophilic, meaning water loving, or hydrophobic, meaning water hating. And the membrane materials which are hydrophobic will not get wet easily, and there won't be any deposition on the surface, leading to reduced fouling. Your nanofiltration and reverse osmosis membranes are generally made up of cellulose acetate or polyamide. Cellulose acetate, the advantage of using cellulose acetate membranes is that they are biodegradable and they are operated in a pH range of 4 to 8, which is quite narrow. They offer resistance to continuous low-level oxidants, just low-level oxidants, but if high-level oxidants are present, they do not offer resistance, whereas polyamide membranes are non-biodegradable, that is, they act as a pollutant, but the advantage is that they can be operated in a wide range of pH. They offer some tolerance for strong oxidants, which is limited, but they can be used for low-level oxidants, that is, continuous exposure to low-level oxidants will not damage the membrane. The next type of membranes are microfiltration and ultrafiltration membranes. There are variety of materials which can be used as the materials for these type of membranes, that is cellulose acetate, polyvinylidene fluoride, polyacrylonitrile, etc. Now these materials will vary in various properties such as surface charge, that is, you can make them positive or negatively charged, degree of hydrophobicity, pH and oxidation tolerance, strength and flexibility. So they will vary in their properties depending on the material it is. You have two common type of membrane module arrangements, that is spiral wound module and hollow fiber module. You have already studied about these membrane modules in detail in your previous lectures. The spiral wound membrane module is generally used for arrangement of reverse osmosis and nanofiltration membranes, whereas the hollow fiber module is used for microfiltration and ultrafiltration membrane arrangements. Backwashing and chemical cleaning. Backwashing and chemical cleaning is used for cleaning of deposition on the membrane surfaces when the contaminants get accumulated on the filters or membranes. Extra resistance is offered to the flow, and at the same time there is a drop in the pressure gradient across both the sides of the membrane. So when this happens, the process of filtration slows down. So backwashing is done to remove the contaminants which are accumulated on the membrane, which result in fouling. Backwashing refers to reversing the direction of flow across the membrane. That is, the pressure gradient is reversed. So when this happens, the contaminants which are accumulated on the membrane will get pushed away and they will dissolve, or they will fall into the solution. So this is how it is done. The direction of the flow is reversed for 30 seconds every 3 minutes, and this is continued about 4 to 5 times until all the contaminants accumulated on the membrane drop into the solution. Okay, they get dislodged, the contaminants get dislodged and they are washed away. Now this type of backwashing is performed for microfiltration and ultrafiltration processes because the mode of filtration used in this case is dead end filtration. In dead end filtration, you know that the deposition of the solids which are present in your wastewater will be more on the membrane, so they have to be washed off by backwashing. The nanofiltration and reverse osmosis processes, they are operated in spiral wound modules. You know that in spiral wound modules, the leaves or the membranes, they are tightly wound over the central perforated tube. We've seen this earlier, and this cannot be backwashed. Backwashing process is not possible. So the cleaning is done by use of chemicals. Different chemicals can be used to remove different types of contaminants, such as citric acid and caustic soda is used for removal of inorganic scaling and inorganic matter that is deposited on the membrane. Whereas you can use detergents and surfactants, basically soaps, to remove the insoluble organic and particulate deposition from the membrane. Whereas you can use a strong chlorine solution to remove the deposition of organic matter, that is biological organic matter, from the surface. Usually, to clean the nanofiltration and reverse osmosis membranes, they go for a combination of different chemicals based on the deposition on the membrane, because you have wastewater which is a combination of many impurities. There will be different types of impurities present in the wastewater, so that is removed by using a combination of different chemicals. Advantages of using membrane filtration processes. The first advantage is the overall cost or expenditure for this technology is very less, because you have lower installation and energy costs. You do not require a high amount of energy expenditure for the membrane filtration processes. You just require a high pressure pump. Then you have very few processing steps. There are no processing steps. It is just a series of filtration processes at the end of which you achieve high purity and yield. So lower overall production cost is observed in case of membrane filtration processes. Second one is high flexibility. The feed products that you have, you can use a wide range of feed products here. Different feeds can be used which have varied viscosities. If the viscosity is higher, you will have to apply a slightly higher pressure than the normal range so that the fluid is forced across the membrane, but it can be used for a wide range of feed solutions having different viscosities. The third one is you get a very high-end quality product, clean separation, because you won't be adding any extra additives for the purification or cleaning process. The separation just happens on size or different properties such as charge. With this, we have come to the end of this lecture on membrane filtration technology. Thank you.